Many people think the point of an outline is to make it easier for you to write by breaking your story into more manageable bits. But is it really? Recently, I read a Reddit comment saying that using a too detailed outline was a mistake. It made the claim that it will turn any book into something so generic that anybody could write. That comment definitely gave me pause. On one hand, I think the commenter is right. A detailed outline would likely make it so anyone could pick up and write the outline story. On the other hand, I think the comment totally hit the water while aiming for the boat. Just because someone could write a similar story if given your outline doesn't mean you shouldn't use one. After all, their story would be just that, similar. They won't. No, I'll go further. They cannot write the same story as you because they aren't you. So I ask, what's the point of an outline? An outline isn't necessarily supposed to make it easier for you to write, but rather to help you write the best story. Maybe that isn't a hot take. Let me know in the comments. Storytelling and writing are very different skills. It's not impossible to tell a great story without an outline, but almost always those who can do it understand storytelling on a very deep level. With that being said, I'm not naive to the fact that some people hate outlines so much that when they use one, they never finish their story. If this is you, I think you should consider outlining anyway, for the purpose of learning how to tell a great story. Even if you never use that outline to tell a story, I think the time would be well spent. Outlining will provide you a roadmap for a good story. If you're creating something, and mind you, it doesn't matter what you're creating, it helps to have a view of the big picture. It's why many artists use reference photos, for example. Some artists, as they grow their skill sets, learn to ditch the reference photo because they can visualize the bigger picture in their head. Some writers are similar. They learn to ditch the roadmap of the story and build it step by step because they know what the story needs, and they can see some sort of framework for their story from start to finish without having to write it down. So why should you outline even if you hate it? Well, outlining doesn't only provide you a roadmap, but it will teach you how to structure a good story. There are many ways to structure a great story, but there are a great many more ways to screw one up. That's why it's important that you learn a structure or two or five and figure out why these structures are so effective. If you can understand why something is effective, then you can replicate it. Pacing is another skill that can be learned through outlining. Stories need proper pacing. There's my crappy English accent. They need this proper pacing to be effective, but proper pacing doesn't mean fast or slow. It's going to be different for each story. But once again, a roadmap or a bird's eye view of a story can help you see what needs to happen, and more importantly, as far as pacing goes, when it needs to happen, or when it needs to happen by. Learning how to tell a good story requires the use of proper foreshadowing. Outlining can help you learn how to foreshadow in an effective way. But honestly, foreshadowing is one of those things that a lot of writers like to stick into their second draft when they have an even more complete outline of their story. That outline being their first draft. Constructing outlines will show you effective places to stick your foreshadowing. I believe that the most important part of any story are the characters. If your readers don't connect with your characters, then they likely won't care about the other elements of your story, no matter how awesome those elements might be. Making an outline will teach you how characters need to change and grow in a way that is satisfying or dissatisfying, if that's your intent, to real people, being your readers. Another good way to learn this skill is by picking your favorite character from any story and writing down their character arcs. This allows you to see how they changed, what caused their change, and how you can push your characters to make the necessary changes that they need to make for your character arcs to turn out the way you want them. Learning how to make a character arc isn't all there is to it. You also need to learn how to make an entire story arc that puts together all the elements I've talked about. Building an outline will not only teach you how to make an arc for a whole story, it can teach you why certain things don't work. And that is just as valuable for writers as learning what does work. It's especially valuable for those who don't like outlining. Now, the most important thing to keep in mind is this. Learning to tell a good story can be done in many different ways. Learning these skills is not exclusive to outlining. It honestly doesn't matter how you learn these skills. It's just important that you do. As you learn these skills, you may decide that outlining isn't for you. More power to you. But if you want to try an outline and don't know where to start, check out this video about my take on the different kinds of outlines.